Today we're going to talk about the hugelkultur mounds with the berries, but we're going to connect that to the economics of permaculture. And permaculture does have an economics, even though it doesn't explicitly state its economic assumptions. And they don't fit into any of the sort of ideological poles of people's talk about the economy either. Now there's a concern for justice, and there's a concern among Christians for justice in the production of food and the production of everything else. But the two poles of any economic cycle are production and consumption. Permaculture starts out with the assumption that the built environment forces us into the kinds of patterns that we're already in. So the system maintains itself through the built environment. And what permaculture does, because it redesigns the environment, because of the design philosophy, if it has one purpose, it can be described in the simplest of political terms using those poles, production and consumption. Permaculture is a design methodology that aims toward putting production and consumption closer together in space. So, and that doesn't just mean if you go to the store and get a quart of berries, that production was simply growing the berries, because production was also preparing the soil. Production was the distance traveled by the berries. Production were the working conditions of the people who picked the berries. Production had something to do with the plastic packaging and what kind of an environmental effect that had. So you can't just look at one piece of it. Production as a whole process. Bringing as much as possible every phase of production closer together with consumption in space and time. Now, these berry mounds have high yielding perennials on them. This is the first one we planted. And here's our production site. Ideally, with an edible forest or with a permaculture designed residence, you never travel very far to get to where your production process is. So you're already spatially close together if you're growing this stuff for your own consumption. And the closest together you can get is actually like foraging. But if you have a lot of high yielding perennial edibles like this available, then it's something that's fairly easy to do. These guys are peaking right now. We've got black raspberries are peaking. We got red raspberries that are just coming in. We've got gold raspberries that are mid-season that are going to be a little bit later. They're just in buds. And we've just barely started growing some of our the flowers for the thornless blackberries. But you can see the black raspberries are in with a vengeance. So we'll see how long this takes here. Just see how long it takes right here. I'm going to throw my hand up. Now we're talking about production and consumption. How long does that take? How much labor does it require? How many inputs does it take from the environment that are sustainable or not sustainable? Those are all the different aspects of economy that are taken into account when you start trying to move production and consumption closer together in space. All right, that took 15 seconds. Excuse me while I do something that's not real respectable. That's one of my daily servings of fruit. That's it. Production and consumption. That's permaculture economics.